welcome to Bullsmart Stock Academy. It's Friday and we are back with yet another episode of Inside Bullsmart series. So you've pretty much met our marketing head, you've seen the you've seen the legal angle, you've seen the HR angle, you've seen the operation services angle of Bullsmart. The only thing that's left is pretty much the finance angle, since Bullsmart is a finance investment company. So today, guess who we have with us? Well, you don't have to guess, he's right here. We all already know him. We've seen Mayank on a lot of our videos. Mayank is part-time finance and risk analyst. Apart from that, his major jobs are being a food reviewer, food blogger, telling must-have visits places in Bangalore. Apart from that, he's also the brand face of Bullsmart Stock Academy. He's also the fashion influencer. So whenever he gets time amidst all of this, he manages finance and money for Bullsmart Stock Academy. So today we have with us the very own face. Welcome Mayank, and I'll give over the mic to you. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
So thank you Shivangi for revealing all my identities on a live. Well, myself Mayank, I was born and brought up in Ranchi, and in Bullsmart I am working as a finance risk analyst, and this is my full-time job.
And permanent, you took back permanent. You have some question there.
No, it's my full-time job, and in part-time I used to do food reviewing and all these things.
So it's not easy being an all-rounder. How does it feel to be so popular? And if you want to thank somebody who made you popular on internet, took you in all the videos, you're sitting here for the live.
No, all those part-times.
All
those part-times are my hobbies only, like eating foods at different places and exploring the undiscovered parts of the city. Likewise, I told you many places in past days to visit. Hope you have visited that.
Yes, I remember, guys, when I first, I was new to Bangalore a few months ago, and when I first joined Bullsmart, Mayank was the first person to approach me and tell me what are the must, visit places in Bangalore. And it's been pretty good months since I'm working at Bullsmart, and every day he comes with a new, restaurant review. Let's go and have food there. Let's go and have food there. And he knows pretty much about all the discounts and coupons and everything about them. So I'm pretty much still under doubt that you know how to manage finances for Bullsmart. We'll get to the technicality later. But yeah, so first let's start with your financial background, your education, and give us a little brief on how it's all started.
See, first of all, I was born and brought up in Ranchi, Jharkhand, and there only I have completed my education.
Right.
My matriculation I completed from DAV Gandhinagar School, CCL.
Right.
And then my intermediate I have completed from St. Xavier's College, Ranchi, and then I have started my graduation in the same college. Meanwhile, I also joined in a course Cost and Management Accountant, and I have cleared halfway, and I am yet to clear the finals of the Cost and Management Accountant.
Right.
In the year and after my college days, I have also started my internship in Steel Authority of India Limited, and then I started my career as a finance risk analyst in Bullsmart.
Okay, so like how was the transition for you? When did you decide you wanted to get into the finance field, and was it easy for you? Like when did the first thought dumped in your mind?
Talking about the first thought, I have seen my grandfather, my father, they all are businessmen. So during my childhood days, I used to go to my father's shop and see what are transactions and how they are handling all the finances. So from my childhood days, I developed the interest in this field. And in class 9th only, I have decided that I have to choose commerce, and I have to move ahead in this field only. And when I started my intermediate in class 11th, I have decided that in the field of cost and management accountant only I have to move ahead. So this field is like it is rightly said that one learns new thing every day, and in this field I am learning new things every day.
So accountant turned finance risk analyst. It's a pretty, long word to break down. So, do you want to tell our audience what are your roles and responsibilities, and what does your daily day look like in office?
See, there are two terms. If you talk about the name of the designation, it is finance risk analyst. So it is made up of two words,
Right.
financial analysis and then risk analysis.
Okay.
If we are talking about financial analysis, it is mostly about analysis of financial statements. Financial statements looks like income and revenue, income statement, then balance sheet. So analysis of these statements which the management require at the end of the month or end of the year.
Okay.
So analysis of these statements is termed as financial analysis. And if we talk about risk analysis includes budgeting, forecasting, like how we see ourselves as an organization after 5 years is the risk analysis, and to prepare budgets. I will get this amount, I will get this amount from these sources, and we can manage accordingly. But if we talk about the company, we have multiple sources of income. We have to raise fund, we have to check our expenses, we have to keep an eye on our expenses, that we should not do any expenses which have no use.
Okay.
But in starting, we will do when we, like, how to say that, there are many expenses which we have done.
Right. Okay. So I'm sure this applies to your personal life as well when it comes to budget management, budget planning, money management. So when you were new to Bangalore, I'm sure it has been a very tough transition for you as well, because it was for me. Prices here are comparatively higher, and the lifestyle here is relatively very expensive. So what were the first thing, like people who have just changed states or switched cities, and things are becoming challenging on the verge of money when it comes in terms of money. So what are the first three things that you had in my mind, that this is something I'm not going to compromise with my money, and this is how I saved, this is how you saved?
Likewise, in my introduction, you have said that I am a part-time food blogger also, like full-time food blogger. So one thing I can't compromise it is with my foods.
Okay.
And whatever expenses which are highly recommended for my, and which are highly required for my livelihood, I can't compromise with that.
Right.
Like, and food is the most
But then
important
how
thing.
did you segregate your expenses and then your savings and everything? How did you start that process?
See, one rule which I follow, whenever you are getting an income,
Yeah.
first set aside the savings part, then do all your expenses, and in that expenses you must segregate your most important expenses at first. Likewise, I do, like my major part of the expenses includes rent and food.
Okay.
So I used to segregate and prioritize my expenses like this only. But this rule everyone should follow. Income minus savings is expenses.
Okay. Income minus savings is expense.
Because this will help you to save at first. Because after expenses, if you want to save, you won't get that much of amount to save.
Okay.
That's why set aside the savings part first, then do all your expenses.
Right. Okay, great. So is this, did you follow the same philosophy when it comes to managing Bullsmart finances and expenses? Like, do you have another philosophy? And I'm sure when you first joined the startup, you have you worked in a different industry, and coming to Bullsmart, working in a fintech investment startup, it would have been a little difficult for you, because I'm sure initially when we just started, there would be a few money crunches, and where you had to forecast or assign something differently. So what was the philosophy back then when you joined? And now that we are on a good go, what is your philosophy now when it comes to money? How do you save the company's money?
See, in starting in Bullsmart, being a fintech startup, we have faced a lot of challenges, and we have failed in many areas, but we have overcome that, and that's the good thing that we have overcome. But if you talk about the transition in my career, it's like when I was doing my internship in Steel Authority of India Limited, my roles and responsibilities were different.
Right.
So my approach was different. And when I joined Bullsmart, it was a startup, and here my approach was completely different from SAIL, Steel Authority of India, because it is a startup. We need to run into the market, we need to learn the insights of the market so that we can move ahead.
Right.
So it's all about the approach, how you see yourself.
So Mayank, this is the philosophy that we talked about. Okay, but apart from this, what are other challenges, major challenges that you don't usually talk about in your, as your role as in your role as your finance risk analyst? What are the challenges that are not easy to put out, but you anyways face them? Let's talk about them also, if you're okay with it.
See, being a finance person, one should not disclose that much of information on a live session.
But just in generic
overview I can give.
Yeah.
Likewise, in past few lives you might have heard that we are applying and we have applied for our SEBI licenses.
Right.
So during that phase I have faced many challenges for license and all, and I have told you that budgeting and forecasting is not easy. So forecasting the expenses for future,
Right.
I think it is the most difficult and important task.
Okay. So what is the process of applying, and what is the significance of SEBI license? Why is it important for a finance company? Do you want to talk about that also?
See, companies in our field have the most relied on the SEBI licenses, because without that we can't approach to our business, we can't start our business. So it is the first and foremost step to get the license.
Okay.
That's why it is most important step.
So what can we do when we get the license?
See, there are many compliances after getting the license. We need to fulfill that, and for everything we have to take approval from SEBI. Likewise, if we want to change the board of directors, for that also we have to take the prior approval from SEBI. And if we want to increase our capital to run our business, for that also we need to take prior approval from SEBI. For each and everything there will be an audit, even there will be a system audit to check our system and our server also, and assigned designated person will come and check the system come here for the system audit.
Right. So, okay, now that you've talked about SEBI and the stock broking license, I want to come back to our Bullsmart app, because everything is about the app. So, a little overview for our audience. We are currently work in progress with our stock broking license, because we are also trying to introduce that on our Bullsmart app. I'm sure all of you have already downloaded it. You already have the Bullsmart app on your phone for daily updates and insights, to follow all the market, current trends in the market, and to understand the risk tolerance in your investment. So apart from that, when you're talking about the license, we'll come back to Bullsmart app. When you first began working here, Bullsmart app was still under work in progress, and we've recently launched our product. So was there a change in the finance process? Was there a change in budget? Or I'm sure, because I remember you being pretty busy when the product was about to launch. You were busy with the finances. You had so many meetings to catch up on. So when a company launches a product, what responsibilities come on the finance person's head?
See, before launch, see, I will answer it like this. When we were planning to have a product like Bullsmart, our approach was different, our kind of expenses were different.
Right.
But gradually when we moved ahead with this product, our expenses changed. Like previously we were not spending that much in the market, but nowadays we are spending to get our product to each and every person's.
Right. So no, I mean, we are trying to make our product reach to everybody, especially young investors and everything. But I'm sure there must be some cost overheads in the launch as well, because on the development front, because I come from an IT background, and a lot of expenses are on the development front or in the testing front, and then comes to the product launch front. was it easy for you to give them? Because how much I know is whenever you are giving as a finance risk analyst, you're giving any budget, there's always one condition from the management's end that you have to make it a little less. We can't go ahead with such budgets. But specifically when it's startup, every department has to have an increase in the budget every quarter because our requirements increase, right? So how do you manage that?
See, during budgeting process only I used to sit with heads of all the departments, so that we can plan accordingly how they are planning and what are their plans, and how much budget we can assign to their plans.
Okay.
So it's the part of the budgeting only, that how we plan our expenses. And most of the expenses includes, if we do any events in any colleges or anywhere, there are expenses. So in prior only we have to decide what expenses we have to do and how we are going to plan it.
Okay. Okay, so this was pretty much around your profile and your work and roles and responsibilities here at Bullsmart. Now I want to shift to more of the technical side of your work. So I want to understand how do you do forecasting. First of all, what is forecasting? See, the forecasting that I understand is making a presumption of this is the kind of expense we are going to get in the quarter ahead. But what is the process of forecasting? How do you do it?
You have answered forecasting.
No, but how do you do it? If I ask you to forecast, coming annual or quarters expense, how are you going to do it?
See, if you talk about the technicality,
yeah,
I'll tell you one simple formula. Like suppose in January month I have spent 10k.
Okay.
In all my expenses including rent, food, everything.
10,000.
Suppose 10k I have spent.
Okay.
So taking the base of 10k, I can plan how much I will spend in Feb month.
Okay.
Okay. So it will be around 8k, 12k, 15k or anything. So but future is uncertain.
Right.
We have to keep certain amount set aside to meet our uncertainties.
Okay.
So that's the major part of forecasting and budgeting both.
Okay.
We have to keep a certain amount set aside to meet our future uncertainties. So that's all the forecasting. We have to plan our expenses in the future months, taking the base expense of the current month which we are running.
And similarly, the next question is about the risk analysis. How do you do that? What are the techniques you use? What is the process of analyzing the risk?
See, there are many methods available to forecast and to make the risk analysis useful.
Yeah.
If you talk about the technicality which most of the user will not get, is that discounted cash flow method, NAV method. These are all the technical terms, but if you talk about in simpler layman language, it is like discounted cash flow means, by the name we can understand that cash flow means inflow and outflow of the cash. So according to that we can plan our expenses and we can budget and we can forecast our expenses. And if we talk about NAV method, NAV stands for net assets value. If we talk about net assets value method, it's the most simplest method to forecast our expenses. It's just like analyze your position in fixed asset, current asset and everything, and then plan your expenses.
Lot of terms that we don't understand.
That's
but again, now that you've talked about risk analysis, what are the possible risks that can come to a company when it comes to finances? If you are mitigating or analyzing risk, what are the possible risks that a company can face?
See, there are many risks which we can face. Few of them are economic risk, political risk, and 2 years back we have seen COVID phase. So COVID has made a lot of impact in every businesses, and in finance also it made a huge impact.
But this is something we cannot like mitigate or predict, right?
Few risks cannot be mitigated and we have to deal with it, just like COVID.
Okay.
We can't reduce the COVID.
Yeah.
It will increase.
So apart from that, you talked about economics and
economical risk, political risk.
Okay.
These are like suppose when GST came, 1st July 2017 when GST came, before that we had many other taxes like value added tax, service tax, which we need to pay and which we have to pay.
Right.
But after GST, all tax accumulated under one head, that is goods and services tax. So these are the decisions from politics, from the government side.
Right.
So these risks comes under political risk.
And economic risks, like are you talking about inflation?
Yes, inflation
like
rate.
Okay.
If the rates of inflation is changing,
Right.
then we need to increase, then cost of everything will also increase.
Okay. So you are able to like predict these risks when it comes to forecasting or budgeting?
See,
I mean, there has to be some kind of data, like I guess past 2 years or 3 years data.
from previous data and past data, we can analyze what are the possible risks so that we can plan accordingly.
Okay, got it. So again, I would because we are talking about the technicality of your profile. This was about work, but when it comes to a personal aspect, how do you do that? How do you approach risk management or make investment strategies in your personal life?
Personally, I follow the simple formula that is income minus savings is expenses.
No,
That's
that you
all the
already
thing.
told us. But there are certain expenses or certain situations that you cannot avoid. I think we call it emergency situations or something like that. I don't understand. I don't know the technical term of it in finance. But when it comes to personal philosophy, what is the philosophy that you follow? And I'm sure when you were new to it, when you were still studying finance, when you were still pursuing education, you might have a different philosophy, and now that you already have 3-4 years of experience in finance field, your philosophy must have changed for the long run. So now that you're working, your lifestyle is completely different now that of a student. So what is the transition? What was your philosophy back then, and what is your personal investment or risk mitigation philosophy now?
See, first is income minus savings is expenses, and second, which is most important and most of the people forget that is we need to diversify our portfolio so that we can mitigate our risk. Suppose I'll give you I'll explain this by an example. Like suppose there are three caps: large cap, mid cap and small cap. If you are only investing in small cap companies, it's like it will take around many more years to get some good amount of returns. But if you diversify your money and diversify your savings in these three caps, you can balance your losses and you can earn more in near future.
Okay.
So diversification is the key.
So now I know we are not allowed to like very specifically and explicitly discuss this, but so I'm not going to ask you to give an example from the company's end, but on a personal note, in your personal journey, can you like give one example of where your investment decision went wrong, or where your risk you couldn't identify that risk and it was a hamper to you?
See, personally, I should not tell the name of the stocks and name of the investment where I have.
Or you can just use anything, or we'll name it something. We'll name it Ashok or something like that.
Common thing I can say that I faced many losses in cryptocurrencies because laws changed,
right,
and they have introduced taxes in cryptocurrencies gains.
Right.
So in that, many of us, including me, faced a lot of losses.
Okay.
And if you talk about another things, in few shares also I have lost many money, but I can't say the name.
Well, did you learn anything from this?
Yes, I've learned one thing, कि we need to be patient and we need to have some patience before doing any investment. Likewise, my mistake was I purchased in a hope that it will increase, but it went down.
Okay. So I mean, if somebody who's just starting his investment journey, what is, from a finance perspective, what is the first lesson that you would want to give this to him, apart from portfolio diversification, of course, and apart from being patient? what is that one thing you want to tell that person that is never going to change, no no matter how the market changes or modifies or how the terms modify. There's this one thing constant, one rule that's never going to change. I want to preach this to somebody who's just starting out.
One learning which everyone should follow, that be consistent.
Okay.
And one should have their own research before doing any kind of investment, because every investment are subject to market risk. So one needs to understand the market risk and possibilities to,
Okay.
and one should find the alternative to run from these kind of market risks.
Okay. So again, coming back to the Bullsmart app, you've been working here for the very long time. You were one of the initial members who joined Bullsmart and been carrying around all the load on their shoulders. So do you now understand why is Bullsmart different from other competitors?
Yes, I think it's different because of our target audience, and we mostly target the youngsters, so that they have to start, and they can start from their own pocket money. Suppose it will be a small amount, 500, 1000.
Right.
They can start their savings journey, so that when they will earn, when they will become the salaried person or anyone, so their savings and investment will continue till that phase.
Okay. Okay.
So because of our target audience only, I think we are different from our competitors.
And okay, that was of course the finance perspective of it, and from the marketing perspective, not just, don't take any perspective, in general, are we doing good as members of Bullsmart? Are we going good?
Yes, of course we are going good.
No words apart from that?
It will be confidential.
Oh, okay, everything for you is confidential. Okay.
Yes, because of my designation only, everything is confidential.
We'll talk about that later. That is not your full-time job, but okay. If we are talking about money, we have to talk about frauds.
Yes.
And scams that happen, and every day you're on Instagram scrolling, you're on Facebook or any social media platform, you hear about wrong UPI payments, and in companies, scams and frauds, and a lot of companies that get the funding but are not able to function in the long run, they shut off within like a year or 2 years of functioning. What could be the reasons, or when it comes to your profile, is this also your job to assess the fraud or any scam that happens within the company, or do you know any?
See, coming up to the fraud part, likewise you said there are many scams including wrong UPI payment and scams related to OLX. You might have heard that in OLX people used to say that please give me this amount, then I will sell this product.
Okay.
So these are the frauds, but if we talk about the organization,
Okay.
mostly we have to deal with the risk part.
Okay.
Likewise you said that most of the companies, due to lack of funding, they shut down. But if we plan accordingly and if we have our funding so strong, then we can move ahead. And if you talk about the funding part, this is also some of the confidential thing which I can't speak. But
I'm just thinking so hard about what am I allowed to speak. Is this the last day of my job? I don't know. As soon as I step aside from this,
because most of your questions include, likewise I have to say that
we
confidential
have to give some spice content to our audience.
No.
They are done listening that Bullsmart is an investment, but how are we running Bullsmart, and how is our own foundation of money and finance? They need to know, because again, one of the ideology of Bullsmart is to be completely transparent to its audience, to its viewers, to whoever are invested in directly or indirectly with Bullsmart. We want to put everything across from the Inside series, and which is why we started the Inside Bullsmart series with every department, so that they know that whatever we are trying to do, we are doing it with complete efficacy and efficiency. and there is so much that we do that doesn't go out right from our content. We are usually, so what our current ideology is, and I'm pretty sure you're aware of it because you're already there in most of our videos. So with Mayank, the thing is that every time we try to make technical content on finance, we have to take approval whether it is good to go on screen and whether all the figures and numbers are correct. So he is our go-to person. He helps us with the content, and most of the times when we don't understand the technicality of it, Mayank himself takes the job to go on the camera and talk about it, which is why you have seen Mayank in a lot of our past videos, and which is why I thought it's very important to bring him on screen and listen to his perspective of how he is not just taking front on the money management part, but a lot of other department, and accounts and finance is one department that is adhered to all of other, like it's kind of the central core of everything that we do inside a company.
Yes.
So yeah, all of this is very important. So of course it's important for me to take out every information from you and give it to the audience, which is why I am ready to play that risk. So okay, we have talked about mostly everything. We've talked about your personal investment strategies and how you manage risk in your personal life. Apart from that, what are your profiles and roles and responsibilities at Bullsmart? Please understand that a lot of content has not been put out because again, we still are work in progress. Our product is work in progress, and which is why a lot of things that a finance person cannot speak, and it has to be kept confidential on that part. So again, there are a few questions that we received while on live. So the very first question is for you, how has the financial industry changed in last 5 years, and was it easy to adapt to these changes?
See, in last 5 years, the major change was the GST part.
Okay.
Because in 2017, when government implemented this goods and services tax,
Right.
there was a huge impact in all the finances, because
Okay.
earlier we used to pay multiple taxes, but all the taxes comes under one head, that is goods
Okay.
and services tax.
Right.
And GST has its own impact, own technicalities. Likewise, we have to submit our sales return, purchase return and consolidated returns of sales and purchases to the government within the timeline assigned. And in the portal itself, in earlier days we used to face many challenges, but they have overcome it, and in day to day and every day we can see the amendments in GST part.
Okay.
Apart from GST, we have many amendments and many technicalities in income tax part also, TDS part also, tax deducted at source. So all the things we have to complete and give the reports to the assigned department in the assigned timeline only.
But was it easy for you to adapt, get used to these changes? What did you do?
See, in earlier days, I also felt many challenges,
Right.
but being consistent and being in this field only, yes, I am learning, still I am learning the portal and still I am learning the technicalities, but yeah, yes, I am learning.
Okay. So the other question that I have for you is currently you're working as a finance and risk analyst in Bullsmart. What is your long-term goal? Like, what do you aspire to be? I'm sure you don't want to just be a finance and risk analyst. What are the possibilities of you to become in like future?
See, in my introduction only I have said that I am pursuing a course, cost and management accountant, so I'll pursue that, I'll move ahead in that course only.
Okay.
So then after completing that course, my field will change into cost management and costing, budgeting, everything. So
how is that different from your current profile?
the CMA is mostly into the production side.
Okay.
And being Bullsmart is the fintech industry.
Yeah.
And CMA course which I am doing is mostly into the production side.
Okay.
So in factory, most of the CMAs work under the production side only.
Okay. And okay, so this is your long-term goal to get into CMA and work on the production front of a company. Okay, got it. And okay, I think we took out as much content as we could from our money manager, personal money manager, and the company's money manager. Personal, why? Because if you want to get insights on how to save tax on your salary, how to file your tax, Mayank is the only pretty much good to go person. So yeah, you can just go to him, ask him what restaurant is good to go, and after that you can just throw away all your questions and challenges. And apart from that, okay, I think it was a pretty well discussion that we had, and let's end this session on a funny note. Do you know any financial puns or money puns or anything?
कि सब कुछ करो, बस 25 दिन में पैसा डबल वाला स्कीम मत करो.
Okay, so are we talking about the Lakshmi Chit Fund? Watched too much Hera Pheri, guys. Okay. So thank you, Mayank. Thank you for taking out the time and sharing whatever insights we had about the company and all your personal friend. Again, thank you so much, all the viewers and all the audience that have took out their time to join us and watch the live. We'll be back again bringing out people who can give us some spice, unlike Mayank. And yeah, so make sure you're tuned in. Keep watching Bullsmart Stock Academy. We'll be back very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.